Hey crafty friends, today we are going to create a fun 3D card. I'm going to use the Boo die set, the Halloween candy corn die set, and the envelope box die set, all from Pixie Dust Designs today. All right, and the envelope box is a big one, so get ready for it. All right, so I have already cut my pieces out, and we are going to start the assembly process. So first thing you're going to want to do is take your pieces and parts for your envelope dies, cut those out from your nice sturdy cardstock, and then you're going to take a bone folder and crease all the score lines that are part of that the die creates for the box. And we're using it as a card, which you can do because there's an extra piece in there that makes it available to do like a pop-up card, kind of a pop-up card. But you can also use just straight as a treat box as well. It will hold some Lindor chocolates. I did see one of the design teams put some Lindor in there, the little chocolate candies. So we are going to continue folding up all of our little score lines and giving them a nice crease with our bone folder. That is imperative that you always give your boxes or 3D projects, any of those score lines, you want to give a nice crisp fold to make it super easy. All right, I have got some Willow Lane pattern paper from scrapbook.com that I've cut out with the layer for the envelope. This actually is the back part of it. I chose to put it on the inside of the front panel for my box to add a little decorative touch to that. So I'm just going to attach that down with some liquid glue. And you saw those score lines right there on the inside of that where you could actually fold that over to make it into the box. We're going to keep it nice and straight like an envelope. And I just have attached that over. And I'm going to go ahead and attach my piece of pattern paper for my front part of my box. And I just used the same one. And I'm just going to put it right on the front. You do have a nice little margin right there around the edge. And you also have pieces for the two sides. So we're going to go ahead and attach those. I'm just going to take my liquid glue and add a little glue to back of there. And just pop those into place. Again, it's super easy to do. I was very surprised how easy this box was to put together, even though we're not technically using it as the intended use. We kind of went a little off the direction, not off the directions, but you know what I mean. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't do it. I had to do something different. All right, I'm taking the base of the box and I'm lining it up along the edge of my back panel. And I just added a little liquid glue back there. And I'm just going to make sure it stays into place. I want to make sure it's nice and lined up with the bottom edge. And so I'm just going to press that into place. You don't want to go over the score line that is on the bottom part. Just make sure you stay right at it. Now we're going to go ahead and attach the front. So I've got it flipped over to the back. And I'm going to line up with the front facing towards me. I'm going to line that up along that edge and press it into place. Now I can easily flip this back up and add glue to the little inside tabs right there that I'm folding over. And I can start assembling the base of my card box. So I'm just going to pull those up to the side, making sure everything's nice and lined up on both sides. I'm holding it in place while that glue grabs. Sometimes you have to hold it a little bit. You know, hey, it is what it is, y'all. And by the way, this is I think we're on day 9. We're on day 9 of my Spooky Sweet Halloween series, which is going on now. We'll do videos until the end of the month. All are Halloween every day videos. So I am really pushing it. All right, so I have taken and brought the edge up and attached that to the back of the box. Again, super easy. But yeah, we're doing a video every day until the end of the month. This is video number 9. You can check all of them out in the supply list. Not supply list, in the playlist for this series. So, and speaking of supply list, I do have a supply list. If y'all are interested in any of these supplies, you can find that in the description box below under the visual supply list. And you just click on that and it shows you all the supplies that you will need to create this one project. Those are affiliate links, and when you use my affiliate links, that helps me to keep these projects free and the videos coming to y'all. All right, so I'm just lining up the inside little panel. This is the part that's different for not just doing the box. This is if you want to make it into the card like I'm doing. You want to add that in, and then it just has little tabs you're just going to glue down. I'm going to press it in with my bone folder to make sure it's nice and tight. And then there's also a tab on the other side. You just attach that down. Super easy. If you have small fingers. I have fat fingers, so it takes me a little bit. It is what it is, y'all. So I hope y'all are enjoying all the Halloween projects. I know I love making Halloween projects. I know not everybody's into Halloween, but it's like my favorite holiday. Whereas for Charles, it's Christmas. I did have to add a little bit of extra glue right there because I pulled it apart while I was still wet. My fat fingers. It happens. So I'm just going to press that in, making sure there's a little gap in between the back and the middle. And then I'm just going to hold that into place for a second and press it with my bone folder. Yeah, so Charles's favorite holiday is Christmas. Mine's Halloween. We're the perfect match. All right, so we're just going to add a little bit of extra liquid glue right there. I noticed that I had a little spot on my pattern paper that I didn't get glue all the way to the edge, so I'm just going to secure that down into place. Make sure everything's lined up on the inside there before we go ahead and start putting everything else together. I'm going to use my tweezers and hold that until it dries. So, all right, while that is completely drying and taking hold, we're going to work on our candy corn little characters, and these are super cute. I put all the rest of them together off screen, and we're going to put the Dracula candy corn together on screen. So you cut your base, and I cut that from white cardstock, and then I cut a piece of orangey yellow cardstock for the bottom part of the candy corn. I did have to look up to see what color order candy corn came in. It was sad. I couldn't remember what color candy corn was. I knew it was orange, yellow, and white. And then sometimes you get some that has that chocolate on it. So I had to go look at it to make sure. But anyway, I'm putting my orange piece on next. I'm just attaching everything together with a little liquid glue to make it super easy. So, excuse me. So I've got all that. I had to reline that up. I kind of didn't have it down far enough, so I had to go back and reline everything. All right, so I've got my little orange stripe of candy corn on there, and now we're going to take and add his little Dracula hair. You know how Dracula always has that little peak, the Willow's Peak? This is what we're putting on now, the Willow's Peak. So our little candy corn has that little Willow's Peak for our little Dracula, and then we're going to go ahead and put together his little eyes. So I've got my little white pieces, and I'm going to get my little black pieces. I'm using the Craft Pro Pick Cup tool from scrapbook.com today to pick all my little pieces and parts up. So I'm going to take my tweezers, and this did not work very well, so I don't advise it. Use the pickup tool. It was a lot easier. But they are super tiny little black dots. They do have the opening. This is something about this die, and I need to mention this. All the things that are supposed to be the same color are on one die, so you have to run it through once. Like for the Dracula's hat or Willow's Peak and the eyes, they were all on one die, and I just had to cut it out with that one die. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put the eyes together, and then I'll go ahead and set those to the side for a minute, and we're going to go ahead and put on his little, I'm going to get my parts and pieces for my little Dracula cape. And let's see, what am I picking up? I'm not quite, oh, his fangs. Make sure when you're putting the fangs on, you put them the right direction. Rick did not put them the right direction to begin with. And I will realize this shortly. So I'm going to go ahead and pop my little eyes on with a little liquid glue as that one flies across the room. Had to go after it. I kept looking at him going, something's not right. Something doesn't look right. Well, then I figured out right here that it was his teeth that were not right. I had them going the wrong direction, so I had to take them off. Luckily, that liquid glue hadn't set yet, so I could just pop them right off and put them back down the right direction where it made sense. All right, I'm going to take and put together his little cape. And I'm going to get and line up my little parts and pieces first. I figured that it was easier to figure out where my placement was, and there's that little tiny strip of black. You're going to add glue to that, and that gets attached to this red piece. That's the back part of his cape with his little collar. So we're just going to line those up, and they line up really easy. I think there's etched lines on the die cut after it's cut out, but you just line it up right in that die cut area, and then that way you can add liquid glue to the back. And I just added a little. I didn't add too much that it wouldn't be covered by the back of the die, by the candy corn die. I'm just going to pick it up, pop it into place, and set him down there, and then get the back of his cape on. And then I can add the front piece, which is what we're going to add right now. I just added liquid glue behind that. It's like the collar of the cape, or yeah, I guess it's a collar. You just add that to the front, line it up, and it makes the cape. And then we have this cute little bow tie that I cut out in some red cardstock. Excuse me. And we're just going to attach that down. And I'm going to add his little eyebrows. This is where the Craft Pro pickup tool came in super handy, because those tiny little eyebrows, which are just adorable. I was just shocked when I cut everything out. I was like, oh my God, there's eyebrows. All right, so we're going to pop the other eyebrow on. It gives them character and without having to draw anything. But I mean, if you totally didn't want to cut it and deal with the small pieces, you could totally just take a pen and draw some on there and be done with it. All right, so I've just got my die cut candy corn Dracula done. And now we're going to add put our sentiment together. Now this one, it was a little confusing for me, because the O's actually make faces. I'm going to start off by putting my B into place first. So I have die cut the shadow, and I have die cut all the parts and pieces for the letters. All well and good, right? Okay. So I had to figure out which O went where. It was not self-explanatory, because what I got as part of the design team, I got the samples product, so I didn't have a picture to go off of. I just had it attached to cardstock, so I had to figure out which way these went. We had a picture in our DT photo group, but that was it. I had to go reference that several times, but I quickly figured it out. One you can actually do is Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. I guess that's where he's from. And whatever Jack's bride's name is, I have no idea. That's the other one. And it does make some other little parts and pieces in there also. This one was the one I had to figure out. This was where your faces are supposed to be. I just did them orange because I wasn't cutting different color cardstocks and the same letters. I was just going to do it one time just to make this project for y'all. And so I just did them orange, and you had to kind of wiggle them around to get them into the right position, because they are a certain directional. They're directional. All right, so now I'm going to take and start adding the little faces. I did end up losing a piece, so I'll show you how I fix that. All right, so there's our little mouth on this one. This is the one that's supposed to be Jack's bride. Isn't that his name? Let me know if that's his name below in the comments, because I'm pretty sure it's right. I've never watched The Nightmare Before Christmas. I know that's weird. I have been to the Haunted Mansion where they do Nightmare Before Christmas now in California when they were doing that. And so, but I still don't. All I know his name is Jack. I had to look it up. I don't know what her name is. All right, so I'm going to add my little eyes here. And this is the part, or actually the next one set of eyes are the ones that Rick lost. I lost the inner part of the eyes. So I've got my little Oogie Boogie there that's orange with his little eyes. This is where I was trying to find the other set of eyeball inner pieces of the eyes. I found the outline pieces that have the little eyelashes. I had to think for a second what those were called. And no, that's not it either. It's not. I tried. It's not the correct thing. I don't know what I did with the little eyes, inner pieces of the eyes. I'm eventually just going to give it up, and I'm just going to show you how I'm going to fix that after I get everything part attached together. I'm going to try to put it like the way I think it's supposed to go, but it doesn't. Now this little bitty pumpkin here, it has this little piece of black that goes behind it. You do want to use your tweezers for that because it made it so much easier than that little jack-o'-lantern together. Teeny tiny little thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. This is where I gave up on the eyes because I couldn't figure out which one went where. More than likely I attached it to the wrong thing, which is very possible. So there's my little jack-o'-lantern. And this is where I'm just going to go ahead and attach the eyes with eyelashes without the inner pieces. I'm just going to attach them on. So that's what I did. I just attached them right down. And I'm going to show you how I fix that in just a second to give her a little bit of life and not just have blank orange eyes. All right, so here we go. There's our little boo. I'm going to take and clean out everything else and only get the parts and pieces that I need. This is where I'm trying to figure out what happened to my eyes. I don't have a clue. Still don't have a clue where they are. Haven't found them to this day. So this is where I gave up, and I'm just going to use what I need. So I'm going to take all the parts and pieces and put them over in my other little tray. And by the way, these are stack and sort trays from scrapbook.com. They are actually very helpful, especially with die cuts. They make it so easy to put everything in there, and then I just pull that little container and put it in.